Men already have so much privilege compared to women. Citation needed. The women abuse men thing is just completely nonsense. Not really, you just don't want to accept that this video is correct. Men might be blamed for assault if they defended themselves from women, but men certainly have the physical power to control a situation like that. Does it honestly matter? Women are equally as dangerous as a man, and you'd be surprised how strong a woman's legs are. So yeah, try again. Women can abuse men also, but no one gives a shit. Abuse is not only physical. Indeed. Men already have so much privilege compared to women. No, they don't. What's your proof? The women abuse men thing is just completely nonsense. Men might be blamed for assault if they defend themselves from women, but men certainly have the physical power to control a situation like that. That makes no sense. How? Let me tell you something. When people like you start caring about abused men, then I'll care about abused women, okay? Don't hold your breath, though. Males have the most proportion in government positions, high-status occupations, and leadership. So what? Women can have those jobs too. But women's intelligence can't be appreciated without judging their appearance in the first place. So you're saying that every man acts like this. Hey, did you hear about that female engineer? Yeah, she's so smart, she makes any problem look easy. True. But she dresses like a tramp. Yeah, definitely a tramp. Do you see how dumb that sounds? It is entirely possible for women to have their abilities acknowledged without having their appearances slammed. I see nothing wrong when a woman hits a man. A guy can easily defend himself. If everyone had that mindset, then the following would happen. Your Honor, that woman attacked me first, and I want her charged with battery. Could you and did you control the situation by defending yourself? Yes. Then it's not an issue. Get over it, you whiny baby, and man up. Case dismissed. I'm sorry. What were you saying about how there's nothing wrong with women hitting men? And women are less likely to be victims of homicide, less likely to be homeless, and have the privilege to criticize men. Yes, women have it oh so hard, those poor pathetic things. I know, right? Being the most privileged group on the planet can be incredibly daunting. In backwards land, that is. I see nothing wrong when a woman hits a man. A guy can easily defend himself. No, he can't. You'll have to explain. By the way, a woman getting away with violence is also female privilege. Correct. Personally, I'm okay with a man beating a woman to death if she's hitting him, assuming that she continues to be a considerable threat, of course. You are literally complaining about women in the 1% and how it somehow relates to male privilege. Most men will never be in government positions and leadership, and even then, women are not banned from doing so, and it's up to each individual person to make their own choices. There are more men running for office and government positions than women. It's a fact. No one is stopping women from doing so, and if then, only a small minority are stopping them. And then to top it off, you condone female and male violence as something that is not wrong, based solely on the fact that one of them is a male. That is terrible. I seriously hope you are joking and don't actually think domestic abuse is okay. I hope that too. And I think you meant to say men instead of women in the first sentence. But anyway, good comment. As a matter of fact, males command the majority of homicides in the U.S., representing 90% of the total number of offenders. What about domestic abuse towards women? 85% of domestic violence victims are females, who are the victims of sexual assaults, rape, and stalking. I don't waste my time arguing with statistics because even if these factoids were true, it doesn't change the fact that men suffer more often than they seem to suffer. Domestic abuse is not okay for anyone, no matter males or females. I agree. For once, you say something agreeable. It's the fact that males are physically more powerful compared to the females. Sure, males can be the victims as well, but it's extremely rare. And you lost me. It's this kind of myopic thinking that prevents victims from getting the help they need. If you haven't seen Typhoon Blue's video called Men's Rights vs. Feminism, Explained Using Magnets, I highly recommend watching it because it concisely explains why people view women and men differently in regard to victimhood. Basically, the video claims that the more you see someone as strong, the harder it is to see that person as a victim, and the more you see someone as weak, the harder it is to see that person as a perpetrator. It's for this reason that people, especially caustic feminists, generally see men as perpetrators and women as victims. Of course, that mindset is incredibly flawed. Randomized sociological surveys, as opposed to unreliable crime data, repeatedly shows women initiate domestic violence as often as men. I'm not going to read the rest of the listed sources because I don't feel like reading them, so I'll just skip to the bottom of the comment. Not that there's anything wrong with the sources, I'm just saying. Nice try. It's hardly rare. Strength has nothing to do with it. Men are the majority of victims of crime in general. So what if men commit 70% of homicides, not 90%? How does that change the fact that men are not privileged and are the ones who need help? And the majority of victims of sexual assault are men, not women. Even if women were men are the majority of victims of homicide, that tells me people are victims, not just women. Women need to stop using DV and sexual assault to play victim. You deserve a medal for writing that. You pulled out tons of statistics trying to prove females are more aggressive and criminal. What was wrong with that? He was trying to dispel the myth that women are usually the victims. You are literally quoting out of context. No, he is not. It's true that most of the murder victims in the US are males, but the offenders are mostly males as well. This argument again. Okay, by that inane logic, I can make the following statements. The Taliban has committed plenty of atrocities, but their victims are also Afghans, so it's not an issue. Black people are often victims of various crimes, but most of the perpetrators are black people, so it's not an issue. Women are often slut-shamed, but most of the slut-shamers are women, so it's not an issue. The logic of this mindset is as follows. Suffering is rendered null and void whenever the victims and the perpetrators are of the same group. It's completely asinine reasoning because it doesn't matter who is doing what to whom. What matters is that the victims receive the help they deserve. In regard to Tommy Gigg's statement about men being both the victims and perpetrators of murder, it's as Man Woman Myth said once. Simply substitute men for any other group, especially women, and the hatred becomes pretty clear. As MR World Guy said, the fact that men kill other men does not change the fact that they are not privileged. In fact, it only reinforces that assertion. I think verbal aggression is the phrase that is more fitting on women compared to males' physical aggression. Which one causes more damage on the victims? I've had enough of your nonsense at this point, so I'm not going to bother giving a response to this part of your comment. You pulled out tons of statistics trying to prove females are more aggressive and criminal. You are literally quoting out of context. Thank you for proving that it is worthless to argue with you. You deny proof that challenges your current belief. Confirmation bias. Look it up. Truly. I think verbal aggression is the phrase that more fitting on women compared to males' physical aggression. Which one causes more damage on the victims? I think you should ask a rape victim which one affected them more, the physical act or the mental effect. Physical damage is, more often than not, temporary. Mental damage is slow and relentless and takes years to heal completely, if at all. People with mental damage in all kinds of intensities aren't even aware of how those subliminal thoughts affect their day-to-day actions. What an interesting, thought-provoking argument. I admittedly never thought of it that way. You are just as bad as the people who say that it is a woman's fault for being raped because of what she was wearing. Exactly. But when he does defend himself, he is crucified by idiots like you. Sad but true. Yes, what this guy said, smiley face. You are literally everything that's wrong with today's society. That is an understatement. Anyway, that's the end of the thread. It's sad how people like this feel that men can't be victims because they're generally stronger than women. If that isn't an altogether pitiful way of thinking, then I don't know what is.